I'm going to preview the number 16 Baylor at Arizona women's volleyball game, which will be played tomorrow, literally at 8 p.m. Central Time on ESPN Plus. Of course, there'll be last nights as well. I apologize for looking down because I cannot memorize all this stuff. And it was a 3-0 loss against Arizona State. That was number 8 in the country, and it's no shame to losing to them. Every set was close, despite the 3-0. I mean, 24-26, 25-27, 23-25. They were down in some of those sets, and they fought back. But ultimately, they couldn't get over the hump and take a set. And when Baylor does not win a first set, they lose the match. The only other loss, only one loss, was like when they took the first set, and that was even against Kansas State. Thus, Baylor is 9-5 overall, 4-2 in the Big 12. So they have played more Big 12 games than Arizona has when you look at it. Because Arizona overall is 8-6, 2-2 in the conference. And their last game was against number 24 Colorado, and Colorado became ranked, and there was a 3-1 loss. I'll go with the score real fast: 23-25, 28-26, 18-25, and 22-25. So they didn't go away quietly. I will say, though, they did defeat Utah the game prior, and Utah was ranked during the regular season, but not ranked in that matchup at the time. And the only other conference win was against Kansas State, and Kansas State's somewhat dangerous. They beat a ranked North Carolina team, and it was 3-1, and that was even on the road at that. So I will say, though, Arizona isn't a receiving votes team at all in all this. When you look at the AVCA poll, but I'm still not going to overlook them. They won basically the NIT in volleyball last year, and they gave Baylor a fight a year ago. It was 3-1. But still, what are some players to keep an eye on from Arizona here? And I apologize if I butcher any of these names here. The first one is Sydney Vanek, Vanek, a 6-foot middle blocker that is a junior. 50 kills on 107 attempts with 13 attacking errors, 1 assist, 3 digs, 30 blocks, 4 those solo, and 6 blocking errors. There's Brenna Gender, number 3. A 5'5" libero / defensive specialist that is a sophomore. No kills on 7 attempts, 53 assists, 13 service aces, 22 service errors, 10 receiving errors, 173 digs, the most on the team. That's it. And I do not know the injury status for Arizona going into the game at all in all this. And I'll address the Baylors after that I know of, like in terms of players returning here. There's Jordan Wilson, number 5. A 6-foot outside hitter that is a senior. 217 kills, which is the most on the team, on 548 attempts, which is also the most on the team, and 90 attacking errors. And I'll put the stats and the roster in the description below so y'all can see it. 5 assists, 14 service aces, tied for most on the team, but 32 service errors, which is the most on the team. 14 receiving errors, most on the team. 105 digs, 23 blocks, 4 those solo, and that's it. There's Avery Scoggins, number 6. A 6-foot setter that is a sophomore. 37 kills on 99 attempts with 4 attacking errors. 537 assists on the year so far. And 12 12 service aces, 7 service errors, 1 receiving error, 147 digs, 19 blocks, 1 solo, 1 blocking error. There's Anna Heat, number 7, a 5'10" opposite. That's a senior. 89 kills on 208 attempts with 33 attacking errors, 3 assists, 3 service aces, 9 service errors, 28 digs, 24 blocks, 1 solo, and 2 blocking errors. There's Haven Ray, W-R-A-Y, a 5'6" defensive specialist / libero. That's a 5th-year senior. 3 kills on 6 attempts with 1 attacking error, 11 assists, 3 service aces, 8 service errors, 4 receiving errors, 100 digs. That's it. I'm going to skip down a little bit. There's Carly Cisneros, number 12. A 6-foot outside hitter that is a sophomore. 153 kills, which is second most on the team, by the way. On 476 attempts, which is second most on the team. Same thing for the attacking errors with 66. 12 assists, 11 service aces, 14 service errors, 13 receiving errors, 118 digs, 15 blocks, 0 solo. There's Adriana Bridges, number 13. A 6'4" middle blocker as a sophomore. 81 kills on 179 attempts with 24 attacking errors, 1 assist, 14 service aces, 18 service errors. Yeah, the aces is tied for most on the team as a middle blocker. 11 digs, 44 blocks, which is most on the team, but one of those is only a solo block. And 2 blocking errors. There's Georgia Mandoti, Mandoti, number 15, a 5'7" libero / defensive specialist as a senior. No kills on 1 attempt, 2 assists, 4 service aces, 6 service errors, 12 receiving errors. That's really the last player I'm going to mention, because there are like 2 other players I could mention, but they only play like 26 sets this year. I don't know how likely that is for them to play in this type of game. So you get the whole gist. I will say, Baylor actually had Bree Denny play for the first time since that Florida game. And that's an encouraging sign. And MJ McCurdy, as in Mary Jane McCurdy, she didn't play last week. I don't know why. She actually played last night. That's huge. In addition, Kendall Murphy actually played a set last night for the first time since game number 1. So maybe they're easing her back in. I don't know. But I know Bailey Warren only played a set last night. So maybe it's because of all the other options were playing better. I don't know. I don't think it's... Maybe it's due to injury as well. I don't know. And all this. So, yeah, I just want to go over that real fast about that. Obviously, whatever you did wrong last game, you got corrected for this game. And whatever you did right last game, you got to bring in this game. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively, not just from set 1 to set to set to set, but during those sets. And you dealt with some adversity during the first and third sets for sure when you're trailing, maybe even during the second, I believe you climbed back. It's just ultimately you got to get over the hump and take a set off the opponent. You don't want to give them like some free points like a rotation error, because that's easily, you could do that on, you could avoid that easily. You could avoid that. You don't want to get like foot faults either. I mean, that's the truth. Or when you serve. You don't want to have like a illegal back row attack either. You don't want to have like net violations. But obviously if they do all that stuff, it's on them. Same thing goes for, you got to have your receive game to be better in this type of game to set up your offense and try to stay in system as much as possible. Like you could have some like variety on offense, unless they go with the hot hand and not going to just continue to go that way until they stop it. So, yeah. And you don't want to give them like free balls either, and you got to win the jousting up top and try to limit their blocking on you as much as possible. And sometimes, like on defense, your best weapon, honestly, is your serving. Serve tough to force like those overpasses, or they can't handle it, and it becomes a service ace, or either that, or they're out of system. And you gotta have your blocking step up, and you gotta shut down the best players as much as possible. Easily, I mean, you gotta dig every ball out if you can. And sometimes you gotta win those long rallies because it does make a difference in the match, and even the set sometimes. Obviously, you do not need to commit like get like so many attacking errors, and you gotta play a little cleaner overall than you did last game. And same thing goes for, I mean, like not just for on the offense, but on the defense as well. Play a little bit cleaner. And I would still not overlook this Arizona team because they basically won the NIT in volleyball last year. But I know this year they have 6 losses already, but I would not still overlook them. And this league is competitive. And I know at one point they were a receiving votes team. They're not anymore. I know. And you need to find a way to get back on track after back-to-back losses. And take all the frustration from last game and put it on Arizona in this game. And Arizona gave Colorado a fight, as you could tell. So you can't just stroll in there and expect an easy game. Oh, no. And I really highly doubt they're going to look at it that way, because they really need to bounce back after a loss to Arizona State, being swept. You got to do a better job finishing sets off if you can, and start faster, and don't get down so big. And if you're down, you got to kind of climb back into it like you did against Arizona State. But instead of losing a set, win the set if you can. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens from here, like on the game tomorrow. And this is huge, obviously, for conference standings, that if Baylor wants to still be within reach of the Big 12 title or close to it, they got to win this type of game. And it would also help RPI as well. And literally after this game against Arizona, they go back at home for 2 games. For 2 games against Kansas State and Cincinnati. And even they play BYU. So a 3-game homestand after this. But still, you got to focus on the here and now. And if you really want to try to be a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament, you got to protect, you got to win games that you should. I don't care how, but you got to find a way to win this type of game, especially against unranked. And don't be intimidated by the home crowd or the players. You got to try to get the crowd out of it as much as possible and take momentum early and send a message to them. And if you could get like a 1-0 lead, that would be huge. And then try and make it 2-0 if you can. If not, try and make it 2-1 in your favor and close the door on them. Kind of like Colorado did. And obviously you don't want to hit like the antenna either. And I know there might be some questionable calls here and there, but you got to be the more mentally tougher team and move on to the next play. And you got to be good on side outs as well, both offensively and defensively. So that's pretty much all the keys all I got to say about this game. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So I'm money to score like video. Comment video really helps YouTube background. so more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people could watch. And if you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well.